All right, welcome to the first episode of the Loose Cannons USA. Here to
Welcome,
talk about
welcome.
all things Arsenal, Premier League, soccer in general, but mainly Arsenal.
Let's go. Let's get it.
So I'm Kenny here, joined by Giuseppe. Giuseppe, you want to introduce yourself?
Giuseppe, been a gunner before I even knew what a gunner was. Junior gunner, year 2000. Shout out to my Uncle Ahmet. You know, big fan. Met Kenny on a cruise. Said, I like Arsenal. Said, no
Fellow
way, I
Gunner.
like Arsenal too. And here we are, 5, 6 years later.
5 years later, got the podcast going.
Yeah.
Loose Cannons USA. All right, so first thing to talk about today, let's get right into it with FA Community Shield. Arsenal getting another trophy.
Yeah. It's not crazy big, but we'll take it. Start the season on a nice note. Don't want to end up like Liverpool last season, but we're more promising, I think.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, a trophy's a trophy. Last year, everyone's talking about Man United getting all the praise for winning the Carabao Cup. They're asking, saying, did Man United have a better season than Arsenal because they got the Carabao Cup and we got this trophy? So, not to put anything past any trophy, it's a trophy. So at the end of the season,
Yeah,
we have a trophy.
it is a trophy.
Not
It's
in
not one of
place. That's it. We
those.
have a trophy. We didn't get one last year. We had a good year. We didn't get a trophy. I still think we
Yeah,
had a better year than Man United, but people try and say Man United had a better year because they had a trophy. Could be an argument for silverware. I still think overall we had a better season, but that argument doesn't apply this year because we already got a trophy. Unless Man U goes on to win the
exactly.
Premier League, but I doubt that happens.
I think we definitely have to be aware of them this season. They they did make a push the second half of last season, but I think with our additions, we're priming for a run at the title.
I I 100% agree. I mean, after last season, and cities, I don't think they've gone forward, but almost like taken a step back by losing players. Gundogan had was played a huge role in their team. Yeah, they got Kovacic and they got Gavardiol, a nice center back, and they're trying to get. I think it's Lucas Paqueta. I saw today. They're trying to add more numbers, but I think City's not going to be the same. I mean, I
And
still think they're going to be good. I think it's just going to be Arsenal and City battling it out. If anything, I think Arsenal's gotten better with the addition of Declan Rice.
I think so too. Not just Rice, but Timber is another great addition as well.
Oh, what a
And
game he had. Let's talk about that for a minute. The FA Community Shield. Oh, Timber, he
yeah,
he was like he was a wall back there. He was a brick wall, Timber.
class. I think what I've seen this preseason, it's very promising.
Yeah.
And
He was a brick wall. And like we said, we're talking about, season starts Saturday and I think he should start. He should be in a starting lineup.
I
He
think so
deserves it.
too. I think over Tierney, no disrespect to Tierney,
Yeah.
but we need that depth like City has. That's the reason
Yeah.
why City won last year. They had that depth. We made some mistakes, but overall, City can play. City can win a treble because they have two excellent teams.
They got the depth. And these other tournaments, City isn't putting out the starting 11 that City puts out for Champions League and for the Premier League, they're not putting that out for the FA Cup. Or some
Uh,
Champions League games, they don't put it out too. It's really their Premier League starting 11 City has. They don't always put that out when they play in the FA Cup and Champions League. Champions League, obviously, later rounds, they're doing that when you get to the knockout stages or the
exactly.
bigger games in the group stages. But they're not putting that teams out, but they got the depth. And you could clearly see City's won 5 out of the past 6 Premier Leagues. And last year was one of the closer years with Arsenal. And what happens because they lost some of their depth. They lost Zinchenko, Gabriel Jesus. We picked them up. Who
Yeah,
they act like they didn't need them. That's a huge part of their team. I mean, yeah, they did win the treble. Maybe they didn't need them, but I think going long term, that looking forward, even like yeah, they ended up winning last year, but 90% of the season we were in first place. So I think
yeah.
that's their loss, and they're trying to add numbers now, like I said, but they are losing some big numbers. But the depth is key.
The depth is key, and we also, aside from the depth which we're building to, our experience it's getting closer. Last year, 2 years ago, wanted to make Champions League, just failed out of that. This year,
Yeah,
wanted to win the prem. Well, didn't start with wanted to win the prem, but ended up being that way. here we are without that trophy, but right there, they got the experience, they got the taste of it. Think, given time, hopefully this year, hopefully they have a little fire, a little chip on their shoulder. We'll see. They definitely, people are going to sleep on them again. They're going to say it was a fluky year. I
Oh, we're
think
gonna
it's
get
just
that
the
the whole
beginning.
season. Every game we lose, Arsenal was a fluke last year. This and that. Won't catch a break this year. You know what's gonna
No.
happen.
Yeah.
We'll win. We'll win. 10 games in a row. We'll lose one, and you won't hear the end of it. That's where we are.
Even a draw.
Even a draw. We're at the point where it's just, we've been bad for so many years. Now we're finally doing well, and just no one can believe it. And it's like you lose one game, you hear about it for the whole season. Meanwhile, you have Chelsea losing 10 in a row, and you don't hear much about it. All
No.
you hear say anything about Chelsea. They finished 13th place. It's terrible. That is absolutely terrible. You don't and you say something like that and they just bring it back. Oh, we won the UCL 2 years ago. They're just
You
going
don't
back to that.
you don't hear about it, A, because of that recent trophy, and B,
Yeah.
look at what happened when the stands were shut down. They had no
Yeah.
fans.
No
Their fans are
fans.
all across the globe. They're not
Where the
in
chance
London.
go? Yeah.
So
They're
they're
not
not
big in
really
London.
tied.
No, Arsenal's the biggest club in London.
Yeah,
That's a fact.
it is. You could look it up.
Yeah. Biggest
Something
club.
like 70%, right?
Yeah.
Compared to the rest.
Oh, Arsenal. It's outside of London, outside of England in general. Arsenal is huge in England, outside of England, especially in the US. Chelsea's, a lot of Chelsea fans because they won the UCL in 2012. They won a few years ago. You
Yeah.
know, they they had some players like Hazard and they won a couple prems, in the 2000s, so
Yeah.
in the teens.
But is theirs gold
So,
though?
yeah, they don't have a gold one.
They don't.
They don't have a
No one
gold one.
does.
No one does. Arsenal.
Except them.
Yeah, that's it.
So
All right. So next thing. All right, starting lineup. So Giuseppe, go ahead and give me your starting lineup for the first game of the season.
my starting
What's it going to
lineup,
be? What's your starting lineup?
I'd go Ramsdale, obviously. White, Saliba, Gabriel, Timber. I would go with the pairing of Rice and Party. And then obviously Odegaard, Saka on the right, Martinelli on the left, and I would go Trossard up top. I think I'd rather start with him than Havertz. I think that's my only question. I think some people, I wouldn't be surprised if Havertz starts, but when Trossard came in,
Yeah.
his first game was all right. I said, I see it, I feel it. He's cooking, just like Henri
Yeah.
says.
Oh, he's cooking.
And you know, I had some people hold their tongue. I'm not going to say who, but
Yeah.
other Arsenal fans.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, other than that, what would be your starting lineup?
So I think obviously, very going to be, pretty similar, but Ramsdale on that. Ben White has been playing phenomenal on the right side, at right back. Then Saliba Gabriel, that should be our pairing. I mean, some people don't know this, but Gabriel had the most minutes played last season, played at all 38 Premier League games, was healthy.
Yeah.
You don't yet, that's rare to see, so he's that center back pairing at their best is, obviously would love to have, I'm thinking that, all summer Zinchenko is going to be our starting left back, but I think Timber's earned it. He's come in, he's played well. No disrespect.
I
I mean,
think
who knows if we'll play the whole game? Zinchenko or Tierney might come back in. I don't know if
I think it's going to be a
Zinchenko.
fight
It's going to be a fight the whole
when
season.
when he gets healthier too, Zinchenko. But Zinchenko
Yeah,
could also play the midfield. We
he
might see
can.
that.
He can hop in too. That'd be
So,
nice to see. And then
yeah.
for midfield, I think too Rice and Partey, to be in, as a 6 and an 8 or almost like two sixes, the center defensive midfield. Rice is just, even just watching him play at West Ham the past couple seasons, he just controls the middle of the field. It's clear and obvious. He's such a good player, very talented, has been in the Premier League. He's going to be there our whole season. Then Odegaard, no one's going to, go in Odegaard's position. When you have a center attacking midfielder scoring 15 goals, he tied De Bruyne. That's the most goals De Bruyne scored in a season. He's going to start and play there. He's our captain every game.
It's world class.
Without a doubt. And then, obviously, a star boy, Saka, and a right wing. He's gonna be starting. Now this is where I'm gonna differ a little bit because we've had the same lineup so far. I
Okay.
think at I think Martinelli. I think he's had some injury troubles. I don't know how he's healthiest. I would want him to start, but not in a striker, but in a left wing position. I think Trossard has just been absolutely phenomenal, creating
Yeah.
goals left and right. All these assists scored. The tying goal basically helped us win the Community
Yeah.
Shield. I think he starts at the left wing position, and
Okay.
then up top, I know Jesus is still injured, and I'm going with my boy Havertz. I think he has a lot to prove to start. Did he have the best preseason? Not really. I think he scored like one goal or like maybe one or two goals. Nothing crazy, but
Yeah.
I may be a little bit biased towards Havertz, but I always liked him. He plays for Germany. I think he's good, and I always say people say obviously he didn't do anything at Chelsea, but I watched him play at Leverkusen, and he played phenomenal in the Bundesliga. And I think the argument you can make anyone the past 3 years at Chelsea, no one has played well.
Yeah.
No one played well in the Chelsea system. They were just terrible. No one played well. Maybe you could say Enzo Fernandez, he played pretty well. But after the UCL, everyone just half the team left. They got more players in,
Yeah.
and that's it. So I think I'm gonna give Havertz the start up top, even over Nketiah.
Respectable.
I don't think Havertz is playing the whole game. I think, he'll come out at some point, but that would be my starting lineup.
And I know we're bashing Chelsea a lot here, but you look at the past with a bunch of their rejects like Salah, De Bruyne,
Yeah.
Lukaku, just to name a few, and they go elsewhere. And even if it's for like a season or two, some cases, not pretty much the cases I just stated,
Yeah.
but they'll do a lot better.
Yeah, they do. So, like you said, prime example, Salah and De Bruyne. They barely, they didn't get the chance at Chelsea. They couldn't do anything at Chelsea. They go to De Bruyne at Man City is world class. Absolutely. Same thing
Yeah,
with Salah at Liverpool. You put them in a different system with a good coach that knows how to play them. They play well in the system. I think it's going to be good. We'll
exactly.
see.
And speaking of, I did mention Lukaku. This kind of ties into this. I'm hearing
Another one.
about Balogun going to Inter.
Halligan. Yeah, that's another one. A good striker, the American representing the US.
Yeah, I think that I get it. He wants to play. He's still very young. It was the French league, but he was competing with the big boys. I'll give him that. So I
Mhm.
think he should be a little more patient. He's still 22.
Yeah.
He'll get his chance eventually. If he's trying to force a move, I don't think it's right for him. But you never know. Sometimes a player just needs a change in scenery. Maybe he's just frustrated. But I wouldn't like him to see him to go to Inter. I'd like to see him stay at Arsenal, develop, and we'll go from there. I think he could eventually fill that number 9.
Yeah, I think he has great potential too. Obviously, seeing what he did, in a French league and his potential, even playing with the US, he's played very well. But it's hard. He's in a position where we've got Gabriel Jesus, Eddie Nketiah, who have been our 2-9, our two go tos. Then we just we acquire Havertz in the off season, and you have people like Trossard that could play in that position. It's almost like you have 4 people ahead of him. And it's like,
Yeah,
when will we find the light of day? And you never know. There's always that opportunity to come play in an FA Cup game, Carabao Cup, even subbing on the Champions League or something like that, even get some Premier League, minutes in. I mean, you could get the opportunity like Nketiah had. I think Nketiah, not this past season, but the previous one, he had a great opportunity at the end of the season to come in. He started like the last, like almost second half of the season after like March, like 10, 15 games. He bagged a bunch of goals, could have done better,
yeah,
but that's an opportunity like Nketiah got, which he ran with not as best as he could have. But Balogun could get that opportunity too. All it takes is a couple
yeah,
of injuries. We're in so many tournaments. I think his time could
exactly.
come too. Just like a lot of defenders too. Like we got QER,
Yeah,
Polish defender. He's come in at times at the end of the season. He's played well. So it's just
yes, yes.
stuff like that too.
Just
You get
that.
your time. It's gonna happen. Or you could
Yeah.
get loaned out too. That's another player. Let's talk about Fabio Vieira real quickly as we get towards the end of this. Fabio Vieira, I think good player, good potential, but and on with Smith Rowe coming back, I think Smith Rowe's gonna get a lot of playing time. But I think
Smith
Fabio
Rowe's
Vieira
been a
is a
little
player.
disrespected.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, has been. But you know what? Injuries, you lose time, it happens. Sometimes you need to get a loan out. I think that's what Vieira might be good with. But I think like
I think so too.
Smith Rowe coming back is gonna get a lot of playing time with all these tournaments. He'll find it.
Yeah. Smith Rowe, I think he'll be a great super sub for right now. I'd love to see
Yeah,
him starting, but for
yeah,
right now, I think he's a super sub. I think that's
I
Arteta's
agree.
plan.
He's gonna be a super sub, and also I thought I want Trossard to start, but otherwise Trossard is going to be our super sub because he is right now. He was the
Yeah.
second half of last season. Trossard is going to be you know, either be a starter or a super sub, continue to do what he's done.
Yeah. Yeah. But going back to Vieira, I think
Yeah.
sending him on loan would be a great idea. Maybe even a lower Premier League team or out to a different league. I think
Mhm.
there's some things he needs to work on. I think physically he could get a bit stronger.
Yeah.
And then,
Definitely can.
yeah, give him a year, get him some decent playing time because he's not playing so much here. I think Arteta's forcing it a little bit more. I think Smith
Yeah,
Rowe can go in ahead of him,
I agree.
but I don't know that whole situation. I don't know the dynamic. I don't know Smith Rowe's health 100%. So
Yeah, that's true. So we just wait and see. So we have Nottingham Forest. I believe we're home or away.
we're home
We're home against Nottingham. We'll see what lineups come
Saturday.
out. And we'll see. Hopefully, season already started on a good note with the trophy. So, just got to get 3 points.
Yeah.
Game one,
And
every point counts. No, you see it at the end of the season. Every point counts. Ties are not acceptable. No, it doesn't matter what point of the season. You need 3 points, especially playing against Nottingham Forest. We need 3 points here, without a doubt.
that's what it did us in last year. To ourselves, we did it, and to the refs from the refs. There were some games where they came out after the game, other refs, and said they made some shady decisions. I'm not going to blame the whole season on them. We did have our own opportunities. Like you said, we got to take advantage of these games. If they're not give me's, we got to go and take them. We got to score five, score another one.
Yeah,
Don't let up any.
exactly. All right. Well, this was our episode 1 of the Loose Cannons USA. And we'll be back hopefully weekly, coming talking about the season, tournaments, news, transfers, injuries, everything Arsenal, everything soccer, Premier League. You already know.
Yep. Thanks for tuning in.
Thanks for tuning in, guys.